Hello, this is Gemma Sarracenia. In my last video, I mentioned pitcher plants as being carnivorous, but the zine project hasn't reached the point to where I dive into that. So, I'm going to explain how cool they are now. We'll talk about how they trap insects and the elaborate maze of their flowers, and of course, I'm going to show off the best photos from my stash. I have to start with showing off my favorite plant. As I mentioned on social media, I have a little bit of serendipity that I treasure. This pitcher plant seedling was found in a clump of purchased live sphagnum moss, one of several seedlings I found. I've heard people complain about carnivorous weeds being found in their live moss purchases. I only saw a chance to watch fascinating, unidentified species grow. Celia was special from the start. She was the hardiest, the only one of the weeds to survive several massive gardening setbacks. She was the most colorful, the most interestingly shaped, the one that grew the fastest and largest. She started displaying the colors of a tequila sunrise in a smooth gradient with only a hint of veins, and she was a weed. So I named her Celia after Celia Hodes on weeds. Well, 2 years after I found her in that clump of moss, she bloomed. Now I know what she is. The only purple pitcher plant species with pink petals, Sarracenia rosea. Her pink-petaled flowers deserve the name. They are sweet and have a hint of rose to their scent. This is fortunate. Some pitcher plant flowers smell like cat pee. I identified her with the help of a page I'll put in the show notes, and she ticked off more than just having pink petals. Similar shape to a purple pitcher plant with a shorter flower stalk, larger flowers, only a hint of veins at times, and sometimes seemingly no pigment at all. I sure did think she was a purple pitcher plant hybrid at first. Some have lighter colors and a lack of veins, but nope. My fascination with these plants goes far beyond their beauty. Both leaves and flowers are intricately designed to fill their purpose. First of all, let's talk about the traps. They are often so beautiful that they are thought to be flowers, but they are modified leaves that have sealed themselves shut to form a tube. It's not an accident that they look so flowery, as insects are drawn to flowers. In fact, many pitcher plants have scents that insects are drawn to, both from their flowers and from the nectar on the hood, even the digestive liquid inside the tubes themselves. I mentioned Celia's lovely floral scent and the fact that some pitcher plants have flowers that smell like cat pee. It also has scents that can smell like decay, and some pitchers are marbled like meat. That might be nasty to us, but insects smell and see a buffet. Some species grow upright and a few feet tall. Some grow low to the ground and are only a few inches across. But they all share a similar design that pushes invited insects further into the tube, where they drown in a pool of digestive fluid. Inside the tubes are several zones, each with a specific function. Zone 1 is the operculum, or the hood. This may be open, allowing rain to enter, or closed, preventing both the evaporation of digestive fluid and insect escape. The hood is often spotted with light-colored patches. These serve to confuse insects that may be trapped inside and looking for a way out. A light enough false window may look like a patch of sky. Insects trying to escape can exhaust themselves trying to fly through these patches, and they are covered in slippery hairs pointed downward. Tired insects struggle to push back against the hairs and find themselves pushed further into the trap. Zone 2, the peristome, is the lip or trap entrance. The lip and area around the trap is waxy, and the wax may wear off on the insect's feet, coating the hairs that help them cling to surfaces, making everything become slippery. This zone also produces nectar and scents to attract prey, acting like poisoned bait. The nectar contains conine, a toxic alkaloid also found in poison hemlock. Capable of paralyzing ants, it seems to also cause disorientation. It might have narcotic effects or function as an attractant, or both. Confused, stumbling insects are even more vulnerable to falling deep within the trap. The glandular zone, zone 3, has no footing, just more downward pointing hairs and some glands that release digestive enzymes capable of digesting the insect even before it has drowned. At this point, the best chance the prey has to escape is if the pile of bodies below them has reached high enough that they can climb out. Zone 4 is usually the final zone. This is the digestive pool, where enzymes and bacteria break down the insect into plant food. It has even more downward hairs to make escape impossible. Here, a waxy surface doesn't just trap the insect, it also protects the leaf from damage due to constant contact with its own digestive fluid. This is where Sarracenia purpurea, the purple pitcher plant, along with my beloved Sarracenia rosea and other open hood pitcher plants, begin to differ from the rest of the family. Most of the North American pitcher plants have hoods that prevent digestive fluid from evaporating or being diluted by the rain. Purple pitcher plants, and a few others, have open hoods that welcome the rain. Young pitchers may have a few digestive enzymes, and the fluid inside is sterile when they open. As they age, the fluid becomes full of bacteria and microorganisms, including mites and rotifers, often brought in on the insects themselves. There's even a mosquito species larva that acts as an apex predator. This miniature ecosystem performs the act of breaking down the insect for the plant, and the leaves stop producing enzymes. They also have an extra zone at their base, a smooth area that doesn't absorb nutrients and lacks the glands to produce anything useful. Its function is still unknown. Eve was a purple pitcher plant I had. Not every plant of mine has the honor of a name, but she was the first pitcher plant that I had that bloomed, and look at that bloom. That texture, those colors, it looks just like an apple. So she became Eve. I was so delighted to finally get my hands on a Sarracenia bloom. I had heard about their fascinating structure for years. They are designed to prevent self-pollination by giving pollinators a labyrinth to travel through, guiding them to the center and back out again. Illustrations were intriguing, but didn't tend to show the details enough to satisfy my curiosity. So, now I have those photos myself, from two of my lovely ladies. These flowers droop down on their stalks, the 5 sepals radiating out like a star above the petals. Below the petals is a cup, usually yellow. I've heard it called an upside-down umbrella, but it has 5 points, so it's a bit like a curled starfish. This is what the plant part people call the style. The style is what holds the stigma, the sticky bit that pollen clings to so seed can get fertilized. In most plants, it's in the center of the pollen-releasing anthers. In pitcher plants, it's shaped to hold the pollen that falls from the anthers above when they mature and split open. Between each petal, the style curves up, tipped with a sticky stigma pointing inward like a soft barb at the crest of each curve. The petals form a convenient landing pad for pollinators. Upward ridges at the side of the petals going into the flower act like guardrails, directing visitors past the stigma as it towers over the entrance to the cup full of pollen below. As insects move under the stigma to enter the flower, they pollinate the flower with the pollen already on their body from other flowers nearby. Once they enter the pollen-filled chamber, if they want to go out the way they came in, the climb is more difficult. It's easier to leave through the lowest part of the style's curve, so they don't pass the stigma again and deposit the flower's own pollen on the sticky tip. You can see why I am so passionate about these plants, and I have a sad thing to tell you. After a couple of visits in the hospital, my delicate bog plants died from no one being there to water them. I am super broke and am working on a long-term project that would benefit from live models and could provide you with more content about these fascinating plants if I reached a wide enough audience. Please help with liking, sharing, and checking out my page about my zine project in the show notes. That page comes with printable goodies including a care sheet for Venus flytraps, a word search, and an art-filled gallery that will explain why these plants need to hunt insects for their food.